Waiting for it to show that it's live, the numbering. Welcome, everyone, to the Real Whovians cast. I am your host, Matrix Lord 212, and I'm with Scott. What's up, Scott?
Hello, all.
All right, so we all saw Doctor Who yesterday. Scott finally saw it, right?
Yeah.
So what's your review of Boom? Because I loved it.
Holy, pardon my French, shit, that was good. That's my second favorite now.
Yes, I thought it was the best episode of the season.
Yes. The fact that they just kept it in one area actually helped. Really helped. I mean, there's two areas. Don't get me wrong. The war site and where Splice was initially, but they kept it to one area, and it just worked perfectly.
Yes.
And the fact that there was a timer counting down to the doctors, and then when they reveal what happens, I'm going to go inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they revealed what would happen if the doctor goes boom, then, but no, it was and the big reveal of who was the true fault of the war was also quite interesting.
Yes. I like the fact that they explained that he's not just any person. If he exploded, he would blow up half the planet because of all that regeneration energy and all that stuff. So, all right, we got Mind Age Nerd here. Here we go. Aiden's here. All right, Aiden.
What's going on?
What's up, bro?
Yeah, not much.
We're live. How are you?
Oh, incredible. I just became a channel member, so I'm living in the high life now.
There you go. Nice.
What's going on? What's happening?
Thank you for your donation. Appreciate it.
No, that's all good. I think I just gave you another $7 or something in the channel membership.
Okay. Oh, okay. A different thing, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Say hello to Scott.
Hello.
Yeah, it's a nice jacket Scott's got on there.
Yeah.
Well, it's well worn. Let's just put it this way.
Yeah, beautiful.
So, what'd you think of the episode?
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, it was excellent.
I sort of skimmed through it. It looked good, though, I gotta say.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, it was. It was. I mean, I was sitting there watching it, and I thought, and that's the one good thing. It didn't drag. A lot of times when you get a good episode, it's like, okay, they're in a spot where, come on, hurry up. But it didn't do it with this one. It just
one of the best episodes he's written. Honestly, if you get a chance to see the whole thing.
And I'm going to have to say this.
One of the best episodes he's written.
I have to say that the little ambulance device they've got in it, I thought that was smooth how they had that thing set up.
Now that was the Susan Twist, right? That was the actress who keeps appearing in every episode.
Yeah.
That she must be like the Black Guardian or something or whatever.
Yeah.
I was really close to dropping this after. Because, I sort of like the giggle. I thought that was a good twist. But
yes.
All of the press they've been doing since has just been, like, intense.
Yes.
It just seems like they're so angry at everyone. And I just feel
right. And I think that's a problem because they should have a PR person because they're damaging their own brand.
Why do we have to mention white guys all the time? Like, why do we have to talk about that?
Because today's society... That's one of the, in Hollywood and everywhere, that's the ones which pretty much like, oh, they're the ones you're allowed to discriminate against. Those are the ones you can poke fun at.
They're pushing diversity so much that it's like you want to shit on the original audience.
Yeah, basically, the four groups they love pretty much shoving and saying you can discriminate against and be mean to are white males who are straight and let's put it this way, of a Judeo-Christian belief.
Just imagine that they are pushing diversity so much that they're like, you have people out there that they bashed, like say us, right? But some of us have an open mind not to take it too seriously, like, oh my God. But then there's others that are YouTubers or influencers that are so angry because of what they said. that they're making a whole campaign on YouTube and videos, and they're ripping them to shreds. I mean, you're talking big YouTubers that are really upset with this whole Hello TARDIS Spider. We have people that are actually podcasters like us, YouTubers, big in the community, and he didn't say anything about what he. Don't pay attention to what Shooty said or Russell T Davies said. He just came in. He's a writer. He's not the showrunner now. He's not. He loves Doctor Who. We came in to write an episode. Let's respect the episode and judge the episode for his talent, not that he's related to the drama, because he's not related to the drama. He didn't add to the drama. He didn't say anything. And immediately I saw people started attacking him, and I'm like, wait a minute, back up.
Grant, you can disagree. Pardon me. You can disagree what he says, and you can and all that, and you can put your 2 cents in with it, but don't do it in a manner which you're attacking him. That's
he's not. He doesn't know what Shooty said, and if he does, he doesn't agree with it. He doesn't know what Russell T Davies said. He doesn't agree with it. He knows as a showrunner not to, because he's done that where he pissed off the fan base. He knows not to try to piss anybody off. And he said, look, he's like, he wanted to let everybody know Doctor Who doesn't need me. But I'm here, and I'm going to do this episode. I'm doing the Christmas special with Russell T Davies called Joy to the World. He's done that. And nobody knows he's part of another season, too. So, like, let him do his thing. I'm happy with it. He did phenomenal. Once you see it, Hayden, I feel you'll love it.
You will love it.
Louis doesn't like it. Louis gonna come on here one day or later or whatever. He's gonna talk about it. He doesn't like it at all. He hates it.
But no, I'm sitting here and I'm watching this like, holy shit, this is good.
Right? It was so
interesting because
and the whole setup with it too.
You know what it's like? He didn't do it, but think of like Midnight, where it was like a controlled.
Yes, thank you. That's the one I was trying to think of.
A different style. Like you don't have somebody trying to possess him.
Yeah.
But he's limited to what he can do because he can't move.
Yes.
So he has to control his blood pressure. He has to control his heart rate because any little thing will explode this mind. And also because he's a Time Lord, as we've seen when he regenerated with Trenzalore, he basically destroyed the entire planet vegetation of Trenzalore, where in the future it was a graveyard, the whole damn planet, right?
Yeah.
Because of the regeneration energy. So they'll have to move off of Trenzalore after that. So, like, basically, like, he has the power of the regeneration energy to destroy the planet if he blows up. It will blow up basically half the planet.
Yeah.
So it's not just a simple explosion. He will blow up half the planet. So that is telling, honestly. And you got to understand that's you know, that's because he's a Time Lord.
I'm excited because episode 1, I could not believe what I was watching for the most part. Like, what?
Oh yeah, Space Babies. Like, what the fuck was that?
I thought it was a show for babies. I was like, what are we doing?
I didn't understand what the fuck was happening, and I'm like,
but
this is what you have for an opener.
In episode 2,
you're on Disney Plus. This is what
it was. Episode 2 had a lot of good moments.
I liked it.
There was a lot of cringe in there too.
Yeah.
But there were some really good moments. But from what I'm hearing, episode 3 is great.
Oh, it is.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, like I said,
best episode of
2 and 3 are so far my most fave, where they can pretty much chuck the first episode in the trash.
Well, I really wasn't.
It's the best
having watched
episode
the first episode, I wasn't sold on Shooty.
That won't bring you on, you know.
Being a bit silly, but
you know what? That's why they coupled 2 episodes in the beginning.
Yeah,
because Space Baby was
he's growing on me. He's really growing on me.
You'll like this episode, honestly. I think you'll love this episode.
Because I wrote in the comments about how I think that they're in a TV show.
That might be right.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, right? He winks at the audience, like he's aware that we're there. So does the Maestro. Then we have a future episode where they're filming them. And
that must be episode 8, The Empire of Death.
Well, the finale, I don't know if it's that, but you have the Pantheon of Chaos, right? Which
I'm
is
sure that's a TV crew.
Well, the Pantheon of Chaos is the Toy Maker, the Toy Maker's child, which is Maestro. Maestro has a child, which is Harry Harbinger. And then they have the oldest one, which is a god. There's the one who waits, which is supposedly not connected to them, but they're all afraid of him. The one who waits. Now, the one who waits could be.
One of the rumors said the one who waits, because if they are on a TV set and it is, sort of meta, Russell T Davies is the one who waits. And it's TV set.
It might be. He does appear in the finale, I think, Russell T Davies. He does appear in the episode. That's
what I was going to say before, which is a bit off topic, but because you remember when the photos came out of shooting back start of last year, when we sort of followed we sort of got a guess of what each episode was going to be. I thought 3 was the episode with Victoria in England where he's dressed in.
So did I.
Did they add the Moffat episode later?
Well, okay, so supposedly episode 2, The Devil's Court, is supposed to be 7. The reason why is because she goes to the doctor and she's like, you never run away. Now, if you just started with him, how would you know he never runs away?
Well, here's the thing. She's been watching him on TV for years.
Oh, meaning Ruby?
That's what they were saying. It's like she's been watching the show and she sort of knows this is the guy from the show.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we're going to find out, but Murray Gold already appeared in the episode playing the piano.
Yeah, because there's a scene where he says, Ruby hears music, the doctor hears it loud, and she goes, why did that stop? And it was Murray Gold's score. She said, why did that stop?
Right.
And the doctor goes, I thought that was non-diegetic. That's non-diegetic music, as you'd know, is music. That's the score. That's music not actually playing in the universe, but playing as part of a series. So the fact that he addressed that and looked at the camera says that he's aware he's in a show.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It could be the Pantheon of Chaos, right? Like, in other words, they could be like, how in the comics they have the Mojo and the Mojoverse, where they're a TV show and they're putting the X-Men on and they're battling the X-Men and they're putting it as a TV for the galaxy. It could be the gods of chaos are making this like a TV show and putting this out there. Right.
Well, so I was reading about the leaks and they were saying it's possibly like the Toy Maker is the god of games, the Maestro is the god of music, and then there was a few others, and it was saying
Harbinger is probably the god of doom, and then
the Trickster is the god of tricks, and there was the god of time, or the god of timeless is the final one. Someone said, what if its name is Timeless, and the timeless child, it's actually timeless with an apostrophe. So the doctor is the child of time itself.
Right, but not necessarily right.
The doctor is some sort of god beyond the universe.
Right.
Do you think that because the Time Lords are gone, this is what I was trying to say to you before, did you watch The Flash where Michael Keaton explains the spaghetti?
No, but I heard bits and pieces.
So he says, if you change the future, by default, you change the past that you came from as well.
Right.
So if you killed the Time Lords in the future, what if the rules of time broke backwards as well?
Well, this explains, here's the thing, right? Supposedly, Time Lords are in the future to Earth. Supposedly, the Daleks are in the future to Earth. So the fact that we're already told that Davros's timeline is the Dalek timeline's altered, where he's not in the wheelchair.
I know about my
and every single thing happened that we know, but he's not in a wheelchair. So in other words, that's what they're trying to say, is that every single thing that happened with the Dalek history happens, but just envision he's not in the wheelchair in this new timeline. But everything is set exactly the same. Everything is done exactly the same. He's just not in a wheelchair, right? You already know that the timeline is distorted because of Mavity. They keep mentioning Mavity instead of gravity. You know that Davros is not in a wheelchair, but yet it's shaped around it. Just like when she stepped on the butterfly, she became a different race, right? So timeline's distorted, but it's distorted where it's not affecting the past history so much. where it's still continuing.
Perhaps it is because the Doctor is now not a Time Lord because there is no Time Lords for him to belong to. So,
no, they did exist.
No, but if you took the Time Lords out of time, you know how they died everywhere. So say you pluck them out of existence, right?
Then nobody would find him in the Citadel.
Well, you've sort of just got the Doctor lingering here, right? And the universe is kind of like, where's this creature from? Because there's no Time Lords for him to belong to.
Well, they didn't get erased from time. It's just they got killed by the Master, they said.
But he said in episode, was it 2?
Genocide.
They died across all of time and space, meaning that even... Because you know
Genocide.
we used to say, why can't he jump back in time and visit Susan when she was younger? But what he implied in episode 2 was they got killed everywhere. So they don't even exist in the past anymore.
Well, I thought he meant that because originally they died in the Time War, then that was all.
Yeah.
Then they were sent into another universe, then they escaped. But then with Chibnall, he didn't know that, and he had the Master kill them off, right? So the way I took it was an act of genocide, meaning the Master killed everyone, right? They killed every single Time Lord in existence, but that's not necessarily true because the Doctor banished Rassilon and the High Council from Gallifrey, so they would be somewhere else, and the Sisterhood of Karn would be on Karn. They're technically Time Lords too, technically.
I thought, didn't Rassilon stay on Gallifrey? Wait, in Hellbent did he banish
No,
them?
they went off in a spaceship.
Yeah.
In Hellbent.
Yeah, the Doctor sent him.
Yeah, the Rassilon got kicked up.
But Rassilon and the High Council, they left.
Yeah, they got
so
kicked
when the
off.
Master comes in to kill everybody, they're not there. So that's the argument.
I think they'll be back because I think they're good villains. They're good villains when they're used. I think RTD likes that because he used them as his final villain in the end of time. They're the biggest bad there is the Time Lords.
Oh, yeah, the Rassilon, right, yeah.
What if the Time Lords, because say they know they're in danger, we think they're all dead. They've pulled themselves out of time because it's too dangerous. They're just going to get killed. What if they've created the pantheon of gods to get the Doctor back?
That could be possible, but I also feel too that we're dealing, to me, with multiple timelines.
Possible.
I feel that there was a purposeful creation of a second timeline, and the reasoning behind this is that Joe Martin's Doctor has a whole bunch of Time Lords the Doctor never heard of that are in communication with Gallifrey. But if Gallifrey is destroyed, wouldn't they know about it if they're on the space phone talking to them? So
you could be right because you know how when the bi-generation happened, the Doctor's soul split in half.
Well,
and I think we pretty much confirmed here that remember that stupid thing about how all the Doctors bi-generated. I don't.
That was just Russell T Davies was just talking. He didn't make that happen.
I think by doing this, he's made it where the David Tennant 14 can be the original Doctor born on Gallifrey. But Ncudi's Doctor can be the timeless child Doctor, and they can both exist. So you can have a classic timeline Doctor who is the Doctor, and then you can have this new timeline Doctor.
But the thing with Ncuti, though, that would mean that he would have to become a child, and in the future, as part of the division, you know what I'm saying, and then regenerate, and then become Joe Martin Doctor. Because I
was thinking more timey-wimey than that. I'm thinking that he has a different past to the David Tennant Doctor because his timeline's been screwed with.
I would think that is okay. So here's the thing, right? We have a situation where the Doctor split. Now we don't really know how that works because the Doctor, the 15th Doctor, explained that he has every single memory of the 14th Doctor, even when the 14th Doctor dies or regenerates. So how could you have that futuristic memory when you just came from him, but he didn't even finish? He's like, I'm here because you do get better. So in other words, for some reason, he has memories of when the 14th Doctor's done. Right? So I would think that when the 14th Doctor's about to die, they merge.
Well, what was his exact line that he said about getting better?
He said, I'm here because you do get better. So now, is he plucked from the future?
But maybe it's sort of like a metaphor, like I exist.
So in other words, he has, okay, So if he doesn't, if it's not literal, if he just, he would have no memories of the Doctor after that point. Like the 14th Doctor could do all these ventures, he will never have it, right? So you mean to tell me that now they'll both exist as the Doctor, and they're both considered the Doctor, but they'll never merge? So in other words,
I think, look, obviously, look at Moffat. Like the showrunner loves to tease you. Moffat lied to our faces and revealed his episode titles. So I think for one, I think RTD's lying when he says that. You know how he says that he wants to incorporate fantasy into the show now? I think it's because the big twist is that they're actually stuck in a TV show and it's not really a fantasy. They're just playing by different rules because they're in the toy maker's game. That's all it is there. We'll be back to hardcore sci-fi Doctor Who once this season is over.
Well, no, not necessarily. They continue it. Next season, they continue. The gods.
Ooh. So
okay, I'll tell you why. The Harbinger, who is the Maestro's child, battles the Doctor in season 2. In there's a theater and it says Harbinger on the theater.
Oh.
So that's definite. Russell T Davies came out and said that the Maestro will return at some point. So don't think that she's done.
Okay. So this is obviously, this 2 seasons is one arc, one big arc.
Well, 3 seasons. Because now what happened is Connor came in here yesterday and said that Russell T Davies, that Chibnall is writing Doctor Who now too. So I don't know if that's season 2 or season 3, but we know that. Okay, we know that Russell wanted Chibnall to finish his storyline. Now he couldn't because he left Doctor Who, so he offered Moffat and him to come aboard from the beginning because he wanted Moffat to do what he wanted to do, and he wanted Chibnall to finish The Timeless Child. Now, Chibnall was writing a play, and the play was going on, so he couldn't do it at first. But now, supposedly, he's coming aboard. Now, it could be he doesn't solve The Timeless Child and he writes something else, but it's more implied that he is.
He's going to solve the end of The Power of 3 first.
I don't think he cares about that because is Mark Gatiss explaining how a villain exists in Sleep No More that won and destroyed everything?
That was the worst episode.
The villain survived and is going to destroy everything.
Yeah.
How is he going to destroy everything? The Doctor has to stop him, right? So how could that happen? How could that continue? It's an unfinished.
Is the show, say the ratings are not great, right? Say that it doesn't do as well as they hope, because it's an expensive show. It's very expensive.
Okay, so we came out. I think I explained it. I'll tell you. Doctor Who is not held by the same standards of ratings as, let's say, Secret Invasion ratings for Disney Plus. Okay, what's happening is Disney Plus went about creating a streaming service, Disney Plus, but they didn't have the content. And they thought, oh, let's do Mandalorian, let's do this. No matter what, they're not Netflix. Netflix is constantly putting out movies. Netflix is constantly putting out content, TV shows, pay-per-view events, whatever. They do now the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson thing on Netflix. They're doing everything now, right? They got wrestling on there, everything, right? So Netflix has got it going on. Disney Plus is realizing how expensive it is to do their own series, and they want to cut back now. They want to cut back their own stuff, but yet they want to have content. So what they're doing is they're making deals to get stuff to just fill the void on Disney Plus.
They don't just distributors, not producers.
Right. What I was explaining is, you know how like you have a retail thing and they just want bodies, meaning they want employees and they don't give a shit if you get promoted or not. They're just bodies in the store to run the store. They just want content on Disney Plus. Right. They just want content on Disney Plus. Just content. It doesn't have to be ratings. It doesn't have to be whatever. So in other words, if you're bored and you find that there's 100 new episodes of Doctor Who from season 1 of Shooty to season fucking 10 of the 17th Doctor or whatever, you have it there. Right now, we don't know.
Library. That's what they're building a library, and they don't want to.
They're building a library. So, but also, you know, BBC is making Disney Plus money that I've said in the past. I didn't go on to explain it as other YouTubers have about, say, Bluey and all these other different shows that make them a fortune. So Doctor Who is protected, really. Like we were talking in the past how Doctor Who has a commission date, meaning that after that date it's done because they can't film. The new commission date I think is 2026 or 27. So in other words, it's basically, I guess, Russell T Davis 4 seasons. Connor, what's up?
Hello.
Yes. So I was trying to explain the situation with Doctor Who with the ratings. Did you want to go into that with Hayden to explain how it's not under the same category of ratings as a regular show would be because of all the stuff that's going?
In terms of the UK release now, it's going to be smaller numbers because the release strategy of the show has changed. So obviously now we get the episode at midnight, the same as you guys do on Disney Plus. So in the UK, they don't monitor or release the iPlayer viewing figures essentially until either 7 days or 28 days after the episode is aired. So we'll probably get the first indication of the iPlayer results for the first 2 episodes tomorrow. So it'll be interesting to see actually how much of a boost on Space Babies and Devil's Cord there is in the UK. I have to.
If it doesn't do great though, surely that's it for Doctor Who because of how bad the last era did. Surely they just call it quits.
No, because
in the UK as well, 7 million is seen as really good. So if it even gets an extra 5 million, it'll be seen as a success.
Russell T Davis explained that the life cycle of the BBC is ending. There is a strong possibility that the BBC will end. And he, as a fan of Doctor Who and Moffat and all his friends, Chibnall and all of them, they want Doctor Who to survive beyond the BBC life cycle. So the plan was always to evolve Doctor Who beyond BBC, so that way when the BBC ends, it could be on Disney Plus, right? Now, unfortunately, that may change too because Disney is in a sort of civil war with each other. And one faction of Disney wants Disney Plus to be ended and just throw everything on Netflix and work with, all the different streaming service to have the Disney Plus content. The other faction wants Disney Plus to continue and doesn't want to get rid of Disney Plus. So we have a situation where 1, the BBC could end. 2, Disney Plus could end. And then 3, they both could end. So if that's the case, where the hell would Doctor Who be? Now, in the situation we have now, correct me if I'm wrong, Connor, Russell T Davis basically has 100% say over Doctor Who because he pays, like he's renting out the Doctor like they paid for the Dalek appearances, right? And he's giving BBC money to use.
He will never have 100% say because the BBC has a set of guidelines that he has to follow as a showrunner. For example, he can't use blood and gore.
Okay, well, I mean, despite the confines of what's allowed on TV or not, or cursing or not, he can do whatever he wants. No, he can do whatever how he wants, though, with Doctor Who now. In other words, remember how we were told before that Russell T Davis was super pissed that he said he was never stopped from doing something in Doctor Who until he wanted that character to be the Doctor's mother, and that somebody stepped in from the BBC, said, you can't do that. And in the back of his mind, even though that was the last episode he was doing, he was pissed because it was like, no one tells me what to do. So that way, when this happened, he made sure that they could never tell him what to do with Doctor Who's history at all. So I'm talking about with the confines of Doctor Who and history, they can't tell him what to do. They can tell him, yeah, you can't curse, you can't have blood, you can't have this.
Yeah. So creatively, he can pretty much do whatever.
Correct. Right now.
I think that for him, he's also very aware about budget and all that sort of stuff. So you probably won't see him go wild, like unless Disney hand him another £100 million.
Well, wait, the one thing to that, Connor, is that even though he doesn't go wild, when he wants to go wild, he goes wild. Because remember, him and his brain. There was an anniversary episode of Doctor Who that it was the Planet of the Dead, and he decided this budget's going to be extraordinary.
Well, there was a rumor from Doctor that originated in Doctor Who magazine because of something that he said. There's an episode in season 2 where he actually, when he presented the script to Bad Wolf and the BBC, he had to include diagrams with it. And the rumor is that the entire episode takes place in zero gravity. So it's them floating about in space pretty much for the whole episode.
Which episode is this?
This will be an episode next season. Yeah. So there was some very kind of tricky special effects and stunt work, for example, that needed to be done. Very tricky set pieces, all that sort of stuff. And he needed.
Well, Connor, you seem to be pretty in on everything going on. What is your thoughts on this theory that they're stuck in a TV show this season?
I think that that's possible in the fact that there's definitely something going on with like a kind of TV show thing in the finale, because there was a quote that came out in one of the smaller British magazines that like Radio Times, for example, that was from Mel's perspective to the Doctor. And she says something along the lines of, "This is showing the story of you and Ruby. This is showing the story of your life." It's almost like she's talking about a movie, about a TV show. So I think that there's a possibility that this organization that is behind that this triad technology is doing something with the Doctor and Ruby that is kind of manipulating time, where it
almost like the pantheon of gods is just a company, and they've tricked the Doctor into this Matrix sort of thing, which is actually a TV show.
Well, yeah, I mean the toy makers realm works a little bit like a TV show, I think, in the fact that it's just completely anything can happen in it, and it's not grounded by any sort of reality.
Do you think this is linked
the Doctor blames the toy maker for the split.
But do you think this is the split and this other reality now? Do you think this is all linked back to the Timeless Child, and we're going to get some sort of, like, they're going to actually tidy this mess up a little bit?
I don't know necessarily about the Timeless being linked. I think the only reason why the Timeless Child has come back up again is because it's to link the Doctor and Ruby together on kind of a emotional level, because they're both obviously in the same position, aren't they? That they're adopted children. They don't know who their parents are. They don't really know where they're from. Even though we shouldn't really know where the Doctor is from, because I don't agree with the whole kind of rewriting.
Yeah, I don't want to know where he's from, because again, I don't want anybody to know his name or anything that's going to review anything where you're going to know exactly who he is. I don't want that.
Well, I thought of it as every millennia or 1,000 years, the Doctor lives 100,000 lives and then gets dropped off in a new universe after every 1,000 or so lives, and we will never know. It's like like a Russian nesting doll. We'll never know where the Doctor came from. It just goes back infinitely.
That's. I mean, I think that we'll always kind of learn new things, because showrunners will come up with new things for the character.
They already explained that there's how many, there was like, she talked about like 4 or 5 different universes in Tecteun. She's like, look, there's the universe 2, universe 3, universe 4.
You know, going back to Time of the Doctor, we probably didn't go into that episode expecting that Stephen Moffat would hand the character another 12 regenerations. a whole new life cycle.
Well, beyond, who knows? We don't know how much.
Well, yeah, we don't even know. But
Even Rassilon didn't know.
Even Rassilon didn't know. Yeah, so
I think to your credit, Connor, it's sort of what they've done. Is Russell T Davies essentially is saying to the audience, forget the rules and the backstory. Let's just have fun each week. That's essentially what they're saying.
I mean, look, the thing we were also talked about was that when the Time War happened, we found out that the Time Lords had no limits. That when the Time War happens to save Gallifrey, they brought Rassilon back. So in other words, Rassilon's consciousness was attached to the technology. Like Rassilon was alive with his consciousness, but his body was dead. So when the Time War happened, they're like, we need everybody back to help us beat the Daleks. So they gave, like, Rassilon became the president. He regenerated, right? But they also said that Time Lords were dying infinitely over and over again, meaning that they said, screw the limits because the Daleks are shooting us. We're regenerating indefinitely. So in other words, it was more like the regenerations were putting into place, like, political terms.
It was just there for population control. That's the only reason they had a limit.
And then they just eliminated it in general. But they just didn't eliminate it with the Doctor. But when that happens, they're like, well, fuck it. We're just going to unlock it and eliminate where he's battling the Daleks. Could you imagine how
messy time would get if there was infinite lives and infinite Time Lords traveling everywhere? So they would have to put a limit on that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
But I'm very interested to see where this is going, because I don't think he wants to confuse the new audience too much, but he also wants to pay off all of the setup.
Well, he did say he purposely put the line in of the toy maker, that the toy maker created a puzzle of his origins, because he wanted people to believe what they wanted to believe. He basically wanted to say, look, you could look at the Timeless Child as canon, then you could look at it that it's bullshit. And he wanted to put the toy maker thing in there to make you believe that maybe it's bullshit or not.
Well, how does the Joe Martin Doctor fit into it all then?
Well, Joe Martin is appearing, right? We heard that she slipped up and she said she met Shooty, and then she had to quiet herself because supposedly, next season she appears?
Well, Marty thinks that she's filmed something. I'm not sure. I think she's just met Shooty. I
think she filmed something too. I think David Tennant filmed something too. They're not telling us either.
I don't think David Tennant is coming back.
But Donna Noble's coming back.
Yeah, but she has a link to Yasmin Finney, who is working for UNIT now. So,
but wouldn't she, But if she came back with her daughter, right? And if the Doctor died, wouldn't they say that in the episode? Her doctor.
But I just think he'd just stay at home, isn't he? He's hanging out with Wilf shooting rabbits.
Yeah.
That's another theory. What do you think of this theory that Ruby is the Doctor and Rose Tyler's daughter?
Oh God!
What's this one? This was ridiculous. This one.
No, I don't. I think that she's the daughter of one of his greatest villains, possibly.
Which one?
It could be Sutek. It could be. I don't know. I just think that.
I think because of what happened in Devil's Card with her humming the theme, I think that she could be someone like Sutek's creation, but I actually think that he's using an abandoned Sarah Jane Adventures storyline that he had.
You're talking about this thing with the trickster's daughter.
Yeah, so in series 4 or 5 Sarah Jane Adventures, she adopted a second child called Sky, who was supposed to be the trickster's daughter. But
there was a Christmas special they never filmed with, there was Tom Baker as the ghost of Christmas Past, and then Matt Smith was meant to be in as well.
I think because Liz Sladen died, they never got round to kind of doing the storyline. So
you're right, because he mentioned that he had this idea in his head about Ruby for 40 years, and it would make sense that he'd already tried to have done this at some point.
Yeah. I think that she's going to end up being the trickster's daughter or something like that.
To your point though, what is so groundbreaking about the idea that she's the trickster's daughter? Why does that excite RTD so much?
I don't even know, because to be honest, like I said yesterday, I don't view Trickster as this huge villain. I think he's a spin-off villain. I think
he's huge to Russell because Russell invented him. So
did he invent him or did Gareth Roberts invent him? I think that's the debate.
Oh.
And he was on a CBBC show. I mean, the general audience didn't even watch it.
But that's the thing. Aren't they enemies with Gareth Roberts now?
Yeah. No one really.
So then wouldn't he get paid if they use the Trickster?
Depends how much of the rights he has to the character.
But he would still get paid if he invents.
Potentially, yeah.
All right, so let me ask you: if they use Weeping Angels, does Moffat get paid?
I think he gets royalty out of it. Yeah.
So anything Moffat created, basically, like he would get paid for.
Unless Moffat invested the rights to the Weeping Angels back into the BBC when he was showrunner,
which I doubt. I think he has the rights, like an estate, like the Dalek estate.
Because he might have had the rights under RTD when Blink happened. Maybe by the time of the Angels happened, maybe.
Well, now that you're here, Connor, we were talking before about the episodes being swapped around. That Boom doesn't seem like it was originally the third episode.
I mean, I must admit it's a bit odd that a Moffat episode would happen so early.
Yeah.
I don't think that one was necessarily swapped around. I think the ones that were swapped around was Devil's Card.
Yeah, that's supposed to be 7, right?
I think that was later on in the series, for sure.
Well, because do you know when they were when they were filming, I remember when the pictures came out, it seemed like the third episode was the Victorian England episode, like the Bridgerton one.
Yeah, I can see that would have been a lot of series because I don't think that has anything related to. Actually, no, it does lead into the finale because Jonathan Groff did an interview recently last week. Added in later.
Is that a lawnmower in the background?
It's Saturday. Yeah, they the whole goddamn every block there is, they're all like a symphony of lawnmowers on Saturday. Yeah.
I'll try to.
I'm sorry. I can't.
Kind of hear you, Connor. It was kind of a little bit.
Yeah, no worries. I think that it's possible that they changed the order around for the Regency episode, but Jonathan Groff said that it was leading into the finale. So I don't know. We'll never know really.
Yeah.
As to what the actual order of it was.
We don't even know if that guy's the new Captain Jack or the old Captain Jack.
He's not Captain Jack.
He's not.
No, because he's talked further about his character in that same interview.
Okay.
He's a bird person. So if you look in the trailer, Indira Varma's character transforms into like a bird as the Duchess. He's exactly the same race as she is. He's not Captain Jack.
Okay.
He might be a time agent, but he's not Captain Jack.
Sorry, Scott. What happened? Scott, you hear me?
Yeah, no, I said no. She was making the comment he wasn't Captain Jack, and I was just going, "Oh, thank God."
So what's the deal with next week? Because wasn't RTD saying it's the best script he's ever written?
Yeah.
What's going on?
And I genuinely believe it as well because I think that by the looks of it, it looks really, really good.
Wasn't this the one where he was talking about a global warming message, saying episode 4 was some big global warming message?
Oh, I didn't hear that.
That was in the original, when he first did the interview. It was like an hour-long interview 2 or 3 years ago. He was saying episode 4 is the best thing I've written, and this is where we need to hammer to the kids that the world warming's a thing.
I think he said that he wanted to write something about global warming, but I don't know if I can't remember. I know exactly which interview you're on about as well. I can't remember if he said exactly what episode it was.
So it might not be this one.
It might not be, no. I was under the impression that he was saying he would like to write something with a huge global warming message.
I just find it funny how, do you know, in Disney's last 2 stockholder meetings, they've said we're going to pull back on politics and our entertainment, and then the Doctor Who media outlet's just been going crazy on the press tour, like worse than any political messaging they've ever done at Disney, and they've just hit everyone over the head. And you see the Disney shareholders are probably like, oh no, we tried to slow this stuff down.
I mean, Boom had a huge political message. It was all about like the price of war, really. So
Yeah.
it's come straight after the shareholder meetings and the upfront that they had during the week. Yeah, it's pretty good timing.
How many times do you think Disney open up YouTube and as soon as they see someone calling their stuff woke, they're just like, oh, not again?
I think Disney definitely do more market research in that field than the BBC do.
Yeah.
I think that Disney are very conscious about that sort of stuff, where the BBC isn't really so much. Yeah, I think maybe it's because Disney's status in like the world is so much bigger than so they kind of have to take notice of stuff like that.
And it's because obviously it's parents with their kids. Like, what do we want our kids learning?
Yeah. They've got more of a corporate responsibility.
Yeah.
But Disney also, like I said, they want content, right? So like, if you remember when was it HBO Max, when that was now it's, I guess, Warner Brothers, right?
Facts.
But
yeah,
but HBO Max, they were desperate for stuff. So what they did was they bought Sesame Street, remember? Where they were allowed to have Sesame Street on their streaming service. They gave money to Sex and the City continuation, right? Like, just like the other network has Chucky, right, as a streaming service. They all like needed content. So Disney Plus needs content. And BBC also make Disney Plus money on the side with other things. So they're not going to look at Doctor Who at the same thing as ratings ordinarily. Because, again, BBC is making them tons of money already with other stuff. So they would, in other words, if the ratings were terrible, they would kind of not cancel Doctor Who because.
But what if it's so bad it causes people
Well, if it gets to the point, okay. So if Russell T Davies comes out tomorrow, and basically, if they both come out and just really again continue really bad, that ratings will go completely in the toilet. Like, in other words, they are affecting the ratings. They're pissing people off. That you have a faction of Whovians now really hate Doctor Who because of it. They won't even watch it. If they don't have a PR person like I suggest they do, and they continually do this, eventually it will get the attention of Disney Plus to possibly cancel it. But
if they
I don't
never said
think
anything, though, like if they had never come on this press tour and said anything, that I think half the people wouldn't have even have cared as much, because Shooty and he's good as the Doctor, so I don't think anyone would have cared.
See, you know what? I look at it a different perspective, because I feel that as smart as Russell is and Moffat and all of them, they were tricked, because people know how to piss them off and then get a reaction with the ego. So in other words, you had some racist, correct me if I'm wrong, right, Connor? Some type of racist that went on to piss Shooty off so bad, made, like, I think videos or something, said, oh, the black doctor, the black gay doctor, like, disrespected his race, disrespected his sexual preference, basically pissed him off so much that he fucking just said what he said, right? Now, I would feel he has a right to say stuff like that, right? Because he was pissed off. But he just didn't have a filter, and he pissed off. Like, in other words, I feel that the person that did that purposely meant to trick him to piss off the whole fan base, so people turn against Doctor Who. I felt that was planned.
Are you talking
in other words, entrapment.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the interview where he talked about white mediocrity?
Yes.
Yeah.
He talked about touch grass. He talked about he said that, you know, he can't. His performance has to be 100%. Whereas if you were white, it could be mediocre. But because he's black, he has to be 100% performance all the time, and it's not fair. He went on to knock whites, and then he talked about, you know what, if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. Jinx Monsoon also said that for every fan they lose, they gain 3. I don't know if that's necessarily correct, but she went off because they were bashing her. Russell already went off on people for different reasons. There was one where, I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, Connor, they went after him about the Davros thing. He was mad about that. They went off about the handicap, the wheelchair, representation of people in a wheelchair being evil. That was his whole thing. The sonic screwdriver thing. So there's been a few things. There's also been a few things where people are moving the chessboard to piss him off for him to get a reaction and say "fuck off,"
and then they get a headline, and then they react to the headline.
Oh, look, he told the fan to fuck off. When this is also connected to us because I gotta say this without pissing people off. Okay, there are certain YouTubers, Whovian YouTubers, that have manipulated a person who is a huge Doctor Who fan into pushing him to go off against Russell, right? The fan didn't know that he was being manipulated. He went after Russell, and Russell ripped him to shreds. Then he was traumatized by it. And then he went on podcasts talking about it, which is what they wanted. Then people bashed the fan saying, how fucking stupid are you? They all did this for ratings for their YouTube channel. You fucking were played.
This isn't the guy that he called a conservative C word, is it? Do you remember that guy on Instagram?
I'm not sure. I'm not going to tell. I know exactly who it is and what group it is.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of okay. So I got to be very. I don't want to start wars here. I just don't want to battle anybody. But the same group that did that tried to pull shit with me, with Marty, with them telling Marty to make me do this on my show, and me and Marty having a falling out the second time, and me telling Marty fuck off with memery that time and everything. So I didn't like people manipulating, and you know how we had Whovian 2 wars with the fucking very battling and shit. Just worry about your own shit, not worry about me, the real Whovians cast. So that same group, I basically let them know without letting them know I know who it is. Fuck you, but at the same time, still be friends with them. You know, like fuck off. You tried, you failed. Fuck off. And it's just they manipulated this person, and then it's just a whole fucking it's Whovian politics. It's not even like it's just ridiculous. But and I mean not political party. I mean dominance of the top dog of Whovian thing that still continues to this day. Who gives a shit?
Ridiculous. It's
who
ridiculous.
Cares? Who fucking cares?
It's a show about police books.
But again, you have to understand. Yeah, Whovian wars. You have to understand that this was done to us. They created multiple accounts of me to make me lose 300 subscribers when people thought that I was this Matrix Floyd into attacking them. And then we had other members of ours, like Jacob that time, where created fake accounts of all the women so that no women YouTubers of Whovians would appear because he just put them on a site. Remember? That they all had to change their identity if they came on a Whovian podcast. Remember? How we had our own members had to change their names to be on here because they fucking were done to them. So
dude, why do you think I don't have social media? I stay out of all of this craziness. It's too much. I was getting
the fact that they tried to get me fired.
Yeah.
They tried to, because of this Whovian business, they contacted my medical job to get me fired from my medical job. This is a true story, and I say this all the time, how I told my boss is like, I'm rich, I'm bored sometimes, I will give you thousands just to battle him in court to the end of time, and that is what created the whole lawyer on retainer meme of me, because I always said, I will sue everybody, because I had a financial backing from my boss saying, oh, I'm bored, let's go. So like I had unlimited resources with that, with any legal thing where I boom, go to court, destroy you. Trying to destroy my channel, I'll go after you. Right? It was awesome. So at the time, so like they tried this. They tried to affect me financially and destroy. They tried to destroy my YouTube channel right before I reached 1,000 subscribers decade ago. I didn't get it because they thought I was this Matrix Lord 2 and 2, and I lost 300 subscribers. And that's when I started to not care about my YouTube channel like I used to. I didn't give a fuck about thumbnails.
Now you just eat pizza.
But that was another thing. In the pandemic, I'm doing reviews, and people thought I was a food critic. That's another fucking thing entirely. So, and then we also had factions of us. Louis knows because he was part of the Who crew and everything. And then we had factions of our own members splitting off to become the Whovians, battle me, and we also had David Aston and manipulated Sammy to strike my channel down so I couldn't do the Whovians cast. And we have one Whovians cast that happened on my secondary channel because I lost the rights to podcast for like 24 hours. That was I guess that episode was what? The Robin Hood one? It was weird.
That was like, what, 10 years ago?
Right, but there's all this stuff that's history that's happened. Like, this thing continues. Like, people want to be the top Whovian YouTuber, and they don't realize it doesn't have to be that way. And to this day, it just happened last year with Marty, that thing. Not even a year ago, they tried to manipulate my show that time to try to Matrix Lynch to shut up about this. Matrix, do this. Marty, make sure he does this. And I'm like, fuck off when I found out. So it's just... I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, I say what I want to say, which I've always been, but it continues. People still think, oh, they want to have a thing, they want to be the head, and they want to be whatever. It's just annoying. It's just fucking annoying. And you know what? Now I'm doing my gaming thing, and it's.
I don't get why it's a competition, though. Aren't we just here to have fun and talk about a show of a guy flies around the police box?
When people were battling me, a couple of years ago, I decided, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to go into do my gaming thing more than podcasting. And then that changed, and I got a whole new audience, and I decided I wanted to take over gaming and just be number one. That created a whole new thing, because then I had people threatening me, new threats, new haters from the gaming community, because I was destroying their records and I was taking their spot on their leaderboards. So I had a whole new set of enemies now I created because I was doing my gaming. Besides the Whovian enemies.
I don't want your life. I do not want your life.
It's crazy. I have haters that they're mad. Okay, so now you can make money from Twitter. And I was promoted where I can make money from Twitter now. And I had somebody past a couple of days that was just attacking me on Twitter, so mad that I can make money on Twitter. Like, he just said, you're a fucking loser. You go back to work, you fucking bum. And he's mad. And of course, I have my game advisors like block him, which I did. But then I'm like, no, I don't want him blocked. I want him to be there. And they're talking shit. They're talking shit. And they follow me, but they're talking shit. And I had people that threatened me last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. They're like trying to scare me off this fucking platform with the gaming. It doesn't end.
Well, I think because it's gaming, because it's Doctor Who, the family shows, you've got a lot of idiot kids with internet accounts, and these kids have nothing to do. So they are just, and you know what kids are like? Kids don't care if they hurt you. They are invincible. If you try to offend a teenager, he'll laugh in your face and go.
But these weren't just kids, though. These were adults. Now, I forgot the guy's number. The guy, let's just say, and it wasn't at the time, but let's just say the guy was number 17, right? In America, right? Out of hundreds of millions of gamers in America on PlayStation, this guy was 17. So I beat this guy. I don't remember what number he was. The guy got so fucking angry. He's like, I've had this number. I was in this position for like fucking 10 years. Who the fuck do you think you are? He's like, I'm going to fucking kill you, you son of a bitch. I'm going to fucking find you. You're fucking dead. You're fucking dead. And he fucking went on, and he's like, I'm going to fucking fuck. He's like, I know what you're doing at 2 in the morning. Your fucking lights on. You're this. Like, trying to manipulate. I'm seriously talking manipulation. Then there was another person that was trying to do the trolling thing to go after Sharon, thinking that me and Sharon would have a problem with our relationship because she's a teacher. So now if you fuck with her as a teacher, she can't be a teacher, right? So they would think they would fucking do that shit, and then meaning we would fight, and then I would give up my YouTube career because whatever. And it's like you have to understand the lengths that people have done. Even like there were people that there was a whole movement of people tried to break me and Sharon up. They were sending her private messages. Yeah. There was people, Connor even knows some of them that were manipulating our own members to turn on me to contact Sharon that I'm a narcissist. When we had real Whovians cast members that learned the word narcissist for the first time ever, and then all of a sudden everybody was a narcissist, or I was a narcissist.
I think I was in that cast when that happened.
And this was some of our trusted members that was on for years, and they manipulated her based on her faith, right? I'm not going to mention anybody. And she contacts Sharon, and she's like,
this narcissist thing that you're on about at the moment, it's because I don't even know why I'm still talking about this after 10 years, but Mike D came along and
I wasn't going to mention, but okay.
He tried. I think he tried to paint a very specific image of you in people's heads. Like, I think that, like, from my experience, you both you both did some pretty wild things in them days. I think that you have definitely calmed down. The only thing for me is that I think, like,
because he doesn't have a canine to toss.
Talking about stuff like this is probably. I mean, I didn't. I'm literally now just sat here thinking, are we talking about this still after like 10 years?
Well, this stuff has been continuing as of 6 months ago, so yeah.
Yes. I think that, like, I think you definitely learn from all them experiences. So I definitely think that you've calmed down as a person. Like, you were both very capable of, and I think it's probably because you're both quite big personalities, is that you kind of had capability of going over the top with things. Mike D obviously had a lot of people that respected him, so he kind of took advantage of that and used his influence to.
You know what? I'm not here to bash Mike D. I just want to say that Mike.
No, this is just the experience that I saw for
organization. Yeah.
So I think
he created Who, and then verbatim over time, people watching it, and then a whole new set of audience hated me because of him.
I mean, you also, on a kind of basic level, put your face on the internet for everyone to see. So, like,
you open up that possibility.
Yeah. It's a really crappy kind of way of looking at things. The way that the world works, if you don't like it and if you can't take the criticism, get the fuck off the internet, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So,
like I said to you, I said there's going to be a possibility where I could grow, and then if I grow, we all grow, right? Like I said to Scott, like if I became rich from this, we would have a YouTube show, or I would go visit all the real Whovians, and we do shit, we ghost hunt. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I would want to flat out do fun shit with my friends here. Like I would go see Hayden, I would go everywhere, all over the world if I was rich, and do stuff like that, you know? But I also know whether I become rich from the books or whether I become rich from gaming or become rich from the podcast, that will invite a new set of problems where then I wouldn't be able to, let's say, walk down the street without a security detail, or like Sharon wouldn't be able
someone, you know, like you were saying earlier, if you've got someone that knows what you're doing at 2:00 in the morning because you've got your light on and they're actually like stalking you, then that's a different kettle of fish from what, like, you know, the Who crew was doing for years.
Correct. That's even beyond Who crew capabilities. But but so again, this is why just like they have the Magneto protocols in the X-Men show, if you watch X-Men, or they have different protocols against the Doctor with Unit, right? Where they have a thing where the TARDIS can't dematerialize with some technology, right? There's like the Matrix Law 2 and 2 protocols that was created by Sharon, my girlfriend, that basically she said, if you go into politics, it's a deal breaker. And we can't be together. Because she knows that if I went into politics, it wouldn't end with me being, let's say, a mayor or a governor or a Congress. I would go to the top being the president. And she said she didn't want to be a first lady. She didn't want to be going to different countries. She didn't want to do any of that stuff with the pressure because she's my wife. To, at the time she will be whatever to do all that stuff. So she just basically said, in a relationship, if you go to politics, it's a deal breaker. So I'm like, okay, so I won't do that. But I actually had plans of doing that. So again, that's a set of protocols, like the major schools doing the protocols, no politics. So, but as far as everything else go, I could still become rich, which would cause a problem, I guess, for both of us. But then we'd have to use our money to.
I get what you're saying. I get what Connor's mentioning as well. Like with this sort of stuff, like if you couldn't handle it, it's just not for you. I think that was me. I think when I realized just how intense people were watching, and they would just make accounts, bully you, dislike, find your Skype, abuse you, find you on Facebook, find your friends. I was like, this ain't for me. And that's why I just haven't had any social media since. And I only talk to Joe, and I only watch what Joe's doing, and then I'll pop in every few months.
Well, I gotta say,
it's so intense.
Everything dramatically changed for me since the pandemic.
Yeah.
Because up until before the pandemic, no one ever tried to stab me with a knife. Okay? So, and again, this is someone that doesn't know me, but I'm just saying, just put things into perspective, because I was on the train going to work and I was doing an overnight, and I always took the train at that time on this day, and the person, which it was sort of like not night, it was sort of like maybe like 5 or 6 o'clock or whatever. The person, it was like a movie. The guy was on the train, came walking to me with the blade out, coming towards me from one end of the fucking train car to another. And I'm at the end, on the very end of this car, and he's only in the beginning of this car. So he came at me sort of like you watch a Dirty Harry movie or something where the guy's coming at the hero with the fucking knife, right? So he's like this, and he's showing off. Everybody around me is freaking out. This lady starts crying over there. Now, obviously, he's towards me. He's not going to, you don't know if he's going to stab this one or this one, but for whatever reason, he was coming at me. So I whipped out my phone like this. And of course, current standards, he thought I was live streaming his identity. So he immediately went down on the chair like this, covering his face, and the blade is out. I took a picture of him showing that he had his blade out like this, right? He jumped off the next stop because he thought I was doing a live stream, and I exposed his ass, right? And he didn't want to get arrested, and he didn't want whatever. So he jumps off the train, the stop before I get off. I get off at my stop. I'm walking. The lady that was crying runs to me. Oh my God! I'm like, what's the matter? He was gonna stab you. I know. And then she's like, oh my God, call the cops. And everything. All right, but what are they going to do? Because by the time they come, he could hop on another train or go some. It's too late. It's over, right? She's traumatized. So her whole day just ended. This one, I don't know I'm going home. And, okay, you're going to be okay. But I still had to work. I still had to go to work. I still had to unload a truck. I still had to do this stuff. But then when I had time to think about it, right, I started putting it into perspective of, take that as these haters that threaten me now. The person that's like, I want to kill you, right? Or the person's like, I know your light's on at 2 o'clock. Now, anybody could have just said, I know your light's on at 2 o'clock in the morning. Psychologically, could be like, oh, who's looking at me? You would know if I'm doing podcasts, I'm up in the wee hours in the morning. You know, because I keep saying it, I game in the weekend. So saying the lights on doesn't necessarily mean you're outside looking at me on the podcast with the light on. They could have just did that for psychological warfare, saying, hey, let's fuck with him and get him worried.
You're turning more and more into Robert De Niro every day.
But also, it's never happened to me before that I'm walking on the street and people are like, Major's on. And they're going to take a picture with me. And that's happened like 7 times in the span of like a couple of months. And then it happened last year. And it's like, wow, that's cool. I like that, you know. But again, some people take it too far too. They're like, oh, you know. So there is the bad side to that too. There could be someone that's going after me, which I don't want to really think about, but it could happen. Unfortunately, look at it now. The situation we're in now, right? I have people that hate me so much with the game, right? And let's just, I'm not trying to talk about me or the real Whovians, but I just want to bring into perspective as a Whovian and a gamer. I'm 4th in America, trying to be number 1. I'm going to probably be number 1. That's going to cause a whole set of problems.
Just put it out there.
That's going to be, and I said I'm not stopping at number 1. Then I'm going for the world title. And I also said after that I'm going for Guinness Book of World Records.
Jeez.
That's that, and I've done it. I'm in the top 30 of all-time platinum achievers in PlayStation, whatever. So
you're like borderline the president. You're almost there.
The gaming thing, I could have sponsorships. I could be boom. Right? It's gonna happen. So
you're gonna turn into a game console soon.
Yeah. Oh no! Well, actually, I was trying. I was trying to get some of these companies to make me a villain as a boss in one of the video games. I actually, because the funny thing was, because people make fun of me, the Whovians like that hated me. They're like, go choke on a donut, you son of a bitch. Because I did the donut lesson, right? They're like, I hope you fucking choke on a donut, you fuck. They go, you fat fuck. And then I lost all the weight, and then nobody can call me fat anymore. But it's like the whole point is like, I laugh because then some people call me a food critic. Look, weird shit happens when the pandemic happens, right?
Well, Scott's a coffee critic now. It looks like.
Is it?
No, I'm just sitting here, and every time somebody comes walking in the door behind me, I just let everybody see.
Did you order anything?
I don't even drink coffee, so.
Oh wow, it's just a nice seat in the sun.
You don't drink coffee?
No, I never could gain the taste for it.
But you went to Starbucks. Well, what do you have it in Starbucks though? You just go into the garden.
I'm just sitting here. Sitting here.
We got to do coffee lessons with Scott if I ever go to where you're at.
That's the odd thing is if
I go where you're at, Scott, we're doing lessons. I'm telling you right now. We're doing food lessons. We're doing whatever.
You're gonna do the knife attack lessons.
This is the odd thing is if I sit at home, I cannot do a cast. I mean, it just seems real weird. When I get out and about, I can do a cast and it just flows just great.
Hold on. All right. I have to address this. Ayman Islam Timu, basically K-Rain. That I know who you are. K, bro, I love you. Don't get me wrong. And I love that you support me. I know you're supporting my competition, which is number 3, and you're in his corner mostly. And you can support whoever you want. But you're not going to get me to stop gaming because I lost my job, bro. So forget it. I get it. But you don't understand. Like, as I explained, when I knew Hayden when he was younger, I wasn't working sometimes, and I basically self-sustained myself, not working for 8 months, just purely living off of my YouTube and book salary.
I'm still waiting for book 15. What's going on?
I'm still waiting for book 14, but...
Oh, yeah, we didn't get there, did we?
Okay, so if you want to know what happened, I decided to release book 13, and then the next day... I had set everything up, mind you. This was going to be the biggest launch ever since, I guess, Connor and James Spivey destroyed my launch of book, A Perfect Wish Book. But anyway, give me 25 negative reviews on Amazon. But anyway, kind of only did one negative review at the time, but it's understood. But anyway, I was going to have the biggest launch for book 13, Twists of Hate. I was going to be in Barnes & Noble in the city. I was going to do book signings. It was all set up. I was taking off from work. I was going to do stuff on the weekends. And then all of a sudden, the next day, I hear, oh, we're in lockdown. And I'm like, what's a lockdown? Oh, you didn't know? No. Oh, you can't go to stores. What do you mean? Oh, you can't go to Barnes & Noble. And I'm like, wait, I have a book signing. What do you mean? No, everything's canceled. No, I just released my book. I just spent $3,000. Scott knows I had to pay them overtime on the weekend to finish the cover.
If he ever tells you about the cover fiasco, that was a series
of videos. I had to spend an extra $500. Remember?
Yeah.
I spent $3,000 fucking of my money, working overtime, everything, to pay for this latest book. Now I find out there's a thing called lockdown. Now I found out that my whole audience, like 90% of my audience, could not get the book because they can't walk into Barnes & Noble. They can't walk into any bookstore that has my book. Now, if you don't know I exist, like in other words, if you go on Barnes & Noble, you'll see me on display or not. But if you have to do it from online, you have no idea who I am because it's not like going into a physical store. Oh, that book looks cool. Oh, that book looks cool. Online, you don't know what you're looking for. So it's not like you could go a virtual tour. So once we went into lockdown, I lost everything putting into that book. All the money I put into.
Why don't you use ChatGPT the next one?
I don't know what I'm doing yet because this is also what happened last year is that I was pulled from Barnes & Noble and now recently I was put back. So I was not going to do a book because I'm like, well, if the biggest bookseller is not carrying me, why should I spend thousands of the book and nobody can see it, right? So I wanted to be in physical bookstores. So now that I'm back, yes, if I have to have money to do a book, I do intend on doing more books. It's just
why don't you do an audio book?
I was always against audiobooks, but I may decide to change that because now everybody listens to stuff in the car.
So it kind of works.
Well, no. It's not. It's fiction and mixed with poetry. It's not.
But it reads well, like it flows well off the tongue.
But it's not necessarily rhyming. It's not necessarily poetry. It's after a certain book, it went to. It's always been, but it invented something else. So it's all fictional characters, all different things, time travel, angels. There's all kinds of shit in there, and now it's just.
Has there been?
It's complex, but
it was based on your life pretty much up to a certain point.
No, it was.
I remember
it was.
I remember you.
It was emotions.
Yeah.
No, it was sort of okay. So in other words, if you're sad, you're writing sad. If you're happy, you're writing happy, right? So it was basically based on emotions. So in other words, if I'm doing a book, right, and something in my life would influence my mood swing. So if I'm doing a positive book, right, which I was doing, the new book was going to be positive. It was going to be from the new series, right? Now this happens, and I lose my job, and I lose this, and now I'm miserable. I can't write that positive book anymore. I can't work on that positive book anymore because it's affecting a new book, meaning I gotta write what I feel. So this is why I have multiple manuscripts around, because if I'm not a different state of mind, I gotta write differently. So that creates a whole new thing. So like, let's think about this. Davros created the Daleks through his rage and anger of being in an accident from the race that's warring with them, right? So he hated that race, and he wanted to extend his race. So he invented the Daleks as multiple things. One, to destroy that race, because he hates them, they put him in a wheelchair. Two, to extend the lifespan of the Khalid race, right? So that was always the thing, that he invented the Daleks from rage and hatred and everything. But then now they're trying to change it. So if I'm sad, I'm going to write sad, right? It could be a poetry book or it could be a story. So if I'm doing a positive book, I can't do that book if I'm sad. So
were most of the first 13 books written sad?
No. Okay. So in other words, the first book, I would say the first 4 are basically emotions, right? Basically, I created things to try to motivate people out of depression, right? By the 5th book, there was sort of like the character coming into play, and then it led into the character having a book named after him, right? And then it continued on with the characters, but the same elements of the poetry. So it was basically how I felt emotion-wise, not necessarily about me, because I have nothing to do with me and time travel and characters and angels and different revenge from this one from the future and all that. That has nothing to do with me. And that's been put into place in the books. So it's just emotions. So in other words, let's just say James Gunn has the greatest fucking 7 months of his life. And let's just say he works on Superman. That Superman movie should be the greatest fucking thing you've ever seen. Right? Because he's as happy he's doing in theory. Right? But if you're negative, like in other words, if you're sad, you could write the greatest sad novel ever. Right? You could, and I put my emotions into everything. So it all depends on the emotional stance of when I'm writing. You know, now I could write, say, for Spider-Man or Marvel, or whatever, based on how I'm feeling. You know, everybody adapts their things into characters, right? Based on your belief and based on whatever you're feeling. But again, emotions affect me. So if I'm happy, I'm gonna write like a cover like Promise Dream with the sunrise and the new relationship and you know what I'm saying? Angels and shit. But if I'm miserable, there's gonna be a snow setting. You know what I'm saying? So it all depends.
What if you're hungry for donuts?
Well, okay, so I'm not doing any books based on reviews, or I'm not doing any books based on gaming. So there's that. And then people ask me, why don't you turn the books into screenplays? I have a sci-fi novel I was going to do, but my gaming thing, there's a paradox. In other words, if I do podcasts, I can't game. If I game, I can't do podcasts. If I write, I can't do. So in other words, you can't do, something has to give. So if I'm gaming, I'm not doing something else, right? So if I'm doing a book, that's going to take me away from gaming and competition. If I'm doing a screenplay, I'm not going to be able to game and go for the goals that I set for me to be number one, because it's going to distract me because I'm doing the books. So I'm doing the most important thing I'm doing is gaming right now. Let's be fair. I'm doing gaming, and just because something happened to me personally, like losing my job, is not going to make me affect gaming. I'm not going to be like, I failed, I give up. No, I'm going to find ways, like I have in the past, right, Scott, of making money, paying my rent, doing my things, whether I'm doing a physical job or or working from home on the computer or podcasting or YouTubing or whatever. I'm going to find ways to pay for my games and continue on, right? So I'm not mad at UK. I have to do a podcast about this, but a lot of times to me, it just seems to me like you want me to stop gaming and you want Raining Elbows to move on without worry about me catching up to him. Raining Elbows is the 3rd ranked guy. I'm the 4th rank. It just seems to me like you're way too much lately trying to stop me to game or give up the competition. And I'm not doing that. I'm not trying to say nothing against you. I just feel like that's what you're doing, because you said this maybe 10 times lately about, I'll give up to the gaming, or give up the competition, take care of yourself, and all this other. No, nothing is going to affect. If I make, right, Scott, if I have a plan, if I'm doing a book and I need money to do a book, right? I've done a book where it wasn't working and I fucking built up. Guys, when I didn't have a job, I self-sustained myself without working from making money from YouTube and my books. So if I do that again, I do that again. It's not, there's so many ways you can make money. And I'm not a loser for doing that. Like this person is attacking me on Twitter. If you're making money and you're paying your bills, you can't say anything, right? If I'm paying my rent, you can't say anything. If I'm paying my electricity, you can't say anything. I'm doing what I got to do. Whether
if you live in a lawn mowing village, they can't say anything.
If I'm going out and picking up dog poop and making money, you can't say shit. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And the point is that my thing is that if I am planning to do a book and I lose my job, I'm going to figure out how to pay my bills and pay for that book. And I've done it. I've done it. I'm going to figure out how to game where I used to spend $1,000 to $1,500 a month in gaming. Now, zero budget, right? I'm going to figure out how to continue to buy my PlayStation cards and game and adapt, continually competition, and I'm not giving it up. I don't care if I'm stubborn, I'm not. So I also put into place buying games and putting them for a rainy day. So I have 922 games I could platinum if I don't buy a game tomorrow. That's going to hold me, I think, to July, as I told Bad Wolf. So, like, I think everybody needs to, like, relax. I mean, this is supposed to be about Doctor Who, but it's related to the whole situation. It's like, why would I stop? I set this goal for myself, and I always have to achieve my goals. Why would I stop because of losing my job? Why would I stop gaming? So, like, this also goes to the thing of people like, oh, you're old. Go sit in a recliner chair and die. You shouldn't be doing, like, the perception of reality is unbelievable. People are like, you're 50. You need to sit home and watch a television show and make your toast and make whatever and don't work anymore.
I can't believe you're 50.
I know. Neither can I.
You're getting old. You're getting old.
I guess. I don't feel old. My manometer is probably 25.
Yeah.
But, I feel like...
I'm not even 25 anymore. That's how old I am.
No. Isn't that weird talking about that?
Yeah, it's
right?
terrible. Yeah, it's terrible.
The fact that I know all these people have been with me for what, 15 fucking years on YouTube? And still with me 15 years later, and you're older, and you were a kid, and I'm older, plus you're older. It's like, it boggles the mind.
Yeah.
It boggles the mind how...
Someone's trying to start a fight with you in here. Matrix Lord, are we going to fist fight if I am the Staten Island? Oh, classic. I'd love to see that. The fist fight.
So fucking, do you remember?
That's classic.
Again, I love you, Monk. But you remember Monk, how when Monk had a falling out with me? And
I remember everyone having a falling out with you at some point.
Remember how he said to me, I'm going to go to Staten Island and gut me a pig, right? Sharon saw that and was fucking like panic mode. Like it affected her where I believe Monk had to talk to her when everything was okay to tell her, I'm sorry, Sharon, please, whatever. Because she actually thought that someone was going to come and try to kill me.
Why do they get so angry at you? I don't get it. Do you have some sort of split personality that comes out on Twitter?
I just think that do you remember how David Aston manipulated Sammy into going to war with me because he was drunk and didn't even know what he was doing, and then Sammy went with it, and then the whole half of my group went with Sammy, and it was like a whole thing because they wanted to make their own faction. Remember? I had my own group that some people went off to become the Whovians, and they said, "Oh, we're all real Whovians here." They tried to trick Chris into thinking it was me, but I wasn't there, to join their group. And he's like, nah. Matrix was not part of this. Sorry, guys. I'm not part of your group. And
now you've got Marcus who wants to punch on. Marcus is not happy with you today.
Fuck, bro. What the fuck? Are we going to fist fight?
Why don't we fist fight?
Marcus, why are you mad?
Marcus does have a nice hat, though. I do like that. That is very nice.
He does?
Yeah, it's a very nice
I don't
little tip of the cap there. I like that. He might beat you in a fist fight if he's wearing that.
Listen, I'm a lover, not a fighter. There you go. That's true.
Maybe you can throw your Morbius figurine at someone. That might throw him off side.
There's not going to be anything in here about Matrix Lord's part of a big fight like Jake Paul versus Tyson. Don't think that I'm going to start boxing and people offering me millions of dollars, and I'm 50. There's not.
You and Scott could be a tag team.
No. There'll be none of that. There'll be no boxing. There'll be no wrestling.
Nope. The only boxing that's going to be going on is unboxing things.
Right. And that time that Daniel couldn't even air that time with the unboxing thing was crazy too.
The only time we'll be boxing anything is when we're going to the grave in a box.
Jesus. This is all day. I made a video.
Where is Daniel? Is he watching Star Trek?
He's sleeping, I think.
No. Does he still come on?
He comes on my streams. He came on a couple months ago, I think. People come on from time. I know Albert wants to come on. Remember Albert the octopus?
Yeah.
He had the whole octopus.
Jacob come on still?
Jacob came on last year.
I still can't believe you met Jacob.
Remember that story? How fucking fun. So, in case anybody that is new to here, Jacob used to be on my show, but then he was an enemy at one point. Then he trolled. He was like the biggest troll there is. He caused a lot of problems in the Whovian community. He was a top troll. So, but he doesn't realize it. So when he was, I guess we're on friendly terms, he's like, I'm going to be in New York. This is my hotel, whatever. So his parents were petrified. And they were like, you threatened this guy for... You tried to destroy this guy's life. He's gonna kill you, Jacob. They contacted the fucking security in the hotel, right? And he's like freaking out because he's like, I can't meet you, whatever. I'm like, bro, I'm in New York. I'm coming to you. So, like, the parents were freaking out from the hotel room. The whole security detail was down there. Jacob comes down the escalator. I'm like, bro, I'm in public. I'm in my home area, like New York. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna kill you. I'm not gonna.
Well, how old was he when you met him? Like 21, 22?
I don't know. But I'm not gonna look, bro. I mean, I'm not gonna do that. Come on. Like, I'm putting aside everything. So he made a quick video. I made a quick video. And then, you know, his parents were freaking out, so he had to go back upstairs. He couldn't even spend time to go eat, or they were just freaking out. And the security is in the background laughing their ass off, thinking this is the funniest fucking shit they've ever heard. They told them the story, and they were pissing themselves, laughing that you know, oh shit, fucking kid from Australia, fucking who was fighting with everybody, now gave out where he's gonna be, and now, oh shit, guys are gonna come and beat him up or something. So that was the thing behind that. It was that people freaking. I met Danette first.
Yeah, I remember that.
In the city, but with the problem with that is that I'm coming from work and we were doing surgery, so she got mad a little bit. But I couldn't meet up with her earlier, and then I saw her going into the play that she went to see, and I give her a hug and everything. I saw her for like a couple seconds, and that's it. And then I met Jacob. So then I was.
But besides me and Scott, who have you never actually had a problem with?
There's a whole bunch of people I never had a problem with.
Because
I never had a problem with Vaughn. I never had a problem with Danette. I never had a problem with.
Well, I think the girls have all been pretty
Jay.
fine.
I never had.
There's a lot of crazy guys.
There's a whole bunch of people I've never had a problem with. It's not about me. It's just. I think you know what I think. You know what I think it is. I think it's because. You know how we had our group in the past. I'm not going to mention last names, but we had Mike, we had Graham, we had Tim, we had right, and then how they wanted to go off and do their thing. But it was a thing where I guess to people they have to knock me down to rise. They could have just did their thing, but I guess back then in YouTube, that's what it was. Is
freedom.
I guess battles or diss tracks or there was always that thing that people were knocking each other. Remember how like Jake Paul and Logan Paul were going to war with each other in diss tracks, and then they were KSI and battling him in diss tracks and different things. And
it was the Wild West.
It was just everybody felt that they had to go to war with each other. And I never wanted to go to war with people, but people went to war with me. But then if they went to war with me, you know you got a show because I didn't take shit. I was a nut. Remember that? So I would just like lay into them, threaten them back, and I'm like, oh, we'll get a lawyer. So it was like a whole. So I think people after a while liked battling me. Like they're like it was a new adversary all the time. You know, and I'm just there like Rocky, and I'm like, all right, I'll fight Apollo or I'll fight. You know, Mr.
Well, I always get lost watching your channel because obviously I don't have Twitter or anything else, and sometimes you'll make a video like, guys, just letting you know, I'm not going to stop watching Doctor Who, and I'm like, what is he talking about? I never heard him say he was going to stop watching Doctor Who. I'm assuming half the time your videos you're responding to people on Twitter or something.
No, I'm on Twitter. I'm on Twitter a lot. And my favorite thing is Twitter. It used to be.
But you know how someone says something to you, right? Like say someone's trolling. Because I never see before that, I only see your response video. So I'm like, what's he responding to? What's he talking about?
See me, it's hard because I think right away everybody's on everything, right? I think you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you're on now it's Threads, then Kick or Twitch or whatever.
What's Threads?
That's Instagram's version of Facebook.
Okay. Instagram's version of Facebook.
Yes.
Okay.
Even though it's owned by Facebook.
And what do you use it for?
Instagram was pictures, Threads, like you're writing.
Like Twitter.
Yes.
Is it popular?
It's becoming.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yes.
Never heard of it.
And Tumblr was something else.
I remember that.
And then Kick and Twitch. Kick is like Twitch.
What do you do on Twitch? Is that like gaming videos?
That's gaming.
Yeah.
And no, but now it's not just gaming now. Now it's podcasting too. It's talking.
Is that popular?
Yes.
Okay.
So, people battle me on Twitter lately too. So, okay. So there was a whole thing with the Timeless Child. How people thought I was going to stop watching Doctor Who because.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that happening.
Right. There was also people thought I stopped watching Doctor Who because Jodie Whittaker was. I threw Kanan across the room and broke Kanan's neck. Remember that? The reveal?
Yeah.
But I'm not stopping watching Doctor Who. Nothing's going to get me to stop watching Doctor Who. Nothing.
I was watching something the other day. Somebody was talking about, a lot of people who are probably just going to be watching Doctor Who now are just going to be the people who do the reviews and all. And I'm thinking.
Yeah, but there was another thing. So we have our friends that are against Doctor Who that are like, you need to be part of this or you're not a real fan. Which I don't, how I don't like that, right? Like, how someone's going to tell me,
how much brains they have.
If you're not part of the Saxon bandwagon, right? So it's like, in other words, like they're like, oh, Shooty bashed white people, you got to be against Shooty. Oh, Russell T. Davies bashed straight people, you got to be against. No. So like, I'm my own person, and I do my right show the way it is. So then it got to be where people were manipulating shit behind the scenes, trying to get people to be members of my show that would try to influence shit. And then I found out about it and I flipped out. That was another thing too. Just worry about your own show, man. Don't worry about mine. I shouldn't be that important where you're worried about that. But people were worried about that. So
they don't have anything else going on in their lives, so
well, we watch Doctor Who because life's stressful and we just want a bit of fun.
Yeah.
We haven't watched this since I was 5.
Yeah.
Like, after Doctor was off the air, I was getting books and I was getting the magazine and I was still watching Doctor Who.
But I'm sure in an interview, like, Shooty's going to say things because he's just being defensive or, he's in an interview. But I think if you were one-on-one with Shooty, he would be the most lovely guy.
Look, people were saying, they would create an opinion of me why I didn't go see Shooty. Because, okay, so here's the thing. There was like a strong possibility I could have bumped into them or known where they were going to be or have friends. Because again, I am always, in case you didn't know, I have communications where I always post to Russell T. Davies about stuff he does. And he likes a lot. Every single post I've said he liked. So people are like, oh shit. Right? And I've sent him private messages to Russell T. Davies. So people think right away I have to be a certain way or I have to be this, and I'm not a real Whovian. That's not true. Like look, I'm not mad at Russell, and I'm not mad at Shooty. I feel that Shooty had a right to say what he had to say based on someone attacking him, but I don't like the way he said it, and I don't like the way he put it because it seemed like he was putting it against all white people, and I don't like that. But I can't control what he says and does, and I'm not taking it literally. You have people screaming on videos, taking it literally, like he killed their cat.
But we've
Same
all
thing
said,
with Russell.
but we've all said a lot of shit in our lives, and it doesn't mean we actually mean it. Like shit just comes out of your mouth every day of the week.
I mean,
you know, like
you know what? I could piss people up every single day and not even realizing I'm pissing people off. And it happens. I mean, like I said, I'm gaming. I piss someone off. I write books and pissing somebody off. How many times I could do anything and I'm pissing somebody off? We have no idea. We have no
You
idea.
can't blink now. You can't blink nowadays without pissing somebody off. That's the problem.
You could offend. Look, at the same time of me pissing people off, I'm benefiting people's lives too. Like people have told me that my books help them to beat an addiction, or I wrote about this, or I wrote about that. I wrote about cancer and help people that were fighting cancer. I wrote about alcoholism and all kinds of different things. And people have said that my books have helped people. People have said people listen to us in the car. They like listening to us doing the Real Whovians cast. You know, like people watch us on the TV on YouTube. So like, you know, either we're benefiting people or we're hurting. I mean, we have no control. We're just being us. I'm being myself. So I'm not trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to, I don't want to fight people. I don't want to whatever. So it's just weird. I don't know. But with Doctor Who, look, I'm going to watch the whole season. The only thing I'm worried
Same
about.
here.
I'm worried about Chris Chibnall. I'm worried about him coming back and fucking shit up more than what already is. Just one episode, because that's what I worry about. Because he already almost destroyed Doctor Who completely. With the Tom
I'm worried about Orphan 56.
That's funny.
I thought that episode was better than the Nikola Tesla one. I thought that one was way worse.
I like the Orphan episode.
Well, I should get off because it's nearly 1 a.m. I need to get some sleep.
I gotta go. I gotta do gaming. So, all right. Thank you, Hayden. Thank you for donations. What's that?
Thanks for the scenic views, Scott. They were
You're welcome.
Wonderful to look at.
Good to see you, Scott. Thank you, Hayden, for the donations. Appreciate it.
So do you have like an iMessage or a WhatsApp to contact?
Pardon?
I don't have.
I'm a channel member now. So do I get like exclusive contact?
Yes. Well, you did that on YouTube because I didn't see that.
Yeah, I did it. I'm a level 2 member.
I won't see that until 3 days for some reason.
Okay.
But I will. Yeah, we'll do stuff together. We'll do podcasts and shit. Whatever you want. Got to give you some perks. We could do everything show. We could do. I mean, we would do ordinarily, but I mean,
go get a pizza.
I am getting pizza. Actually. Well, Sharon's going food shopping right now, so.
Oh, nice.
We're gonna have it together. I definitely will. Thank you very much.
Oh, good.
Appreciate it.
No worries. I'll chat to you soon then. Enjoy your evening.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye for now.